경기장 도시형.
Well, guys, here we are on Daybreak, the best map in StarCraft 2 right now, in my opinion, and up at the top of it, on the right side, a little bit to the right, is our Red Terran player from the team Evil Geniuses. It is PuMa. And down at the bottom left part of the map, in the blue from the team Old Generation StarCrafters, it is the STC. Oh, but it says this STC on the top of the screen there.
Oh, did I say Ves STC?
Ves
My
STC
apologies.
there.
I am human.
There we go. All right.
There we go.
Fixed her right up.
Yes, fixed her up.
I'll have
I
to
see your problem right there.
That's right. Well, that's the problem. You got too many S's in that there name.
You got they're Korean players only use the and then the STC. So.
I don't know why suddenly like old prospectors are judging StarCraft 2 overlays, but
so
yeah,
it's good because I almost slipped into like a random 30s gangster accent there. See, that's your problem there. See.
I don't know. That still sounded a little bit too.
I know.
Yeah,
I apologize. It's Missouri background. Gas before barracks up for the STC in this crazy game we call StarCraft now. Yeah. Up for PuMa though, it looks like it's just racks on normal time. So a little bit of a difference in these builds already.
Pretty much. Have to see if he gets his gas or if he decides to get the command center first. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go the command center route. It's a map that most people do that on, but I don't know. There's always the option. Does go up to 14 supply though, so yeah, probably going to see the command center. Generally, the gas is on 13 if you're gonna do that, unless there's a couple of Europeans players. Yeah, Braddock, that's the one who always gets it on 14 or 15, I think it was.
Yeah, 15. He was actually going 15 gas,
right.
So into a weird kind of 2-rack expand build. But but yeah, you are absolutely right. Generally, every other player that I've seen, if they go up to 14 supply, you can just assume that they're going to bypass gas.
Yeah, now the question is, what is the STC going to use this extra gas for? Most likely, I think we're going to see a factory right after the barracks. That's kind of the nice timing. You can line up with that, or at least it used to be a nice timing until they changed the barracks build time. Thank you very much. But, you know, it's still a way to get your factory really, really quickly. And that SCV getting away just in time. So, yeah, you could just be going for something like Reactor to Hellions, which I think is probably what we're going to see. Some players do decide to go Banshee. That used to be kind of the old standard. If you saw gas first, you'd see Banshees. But we see so many players going for Hellions nowadays, too, that you kind of have to wait and see if the reactor comes out on the barracks or not with that.
We're going to see if that is indeed the case. We already have a wall in now. First Marine is out, and there's quite a bit of gas saved up, and there's a tech lab.
Tech lab, okay.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah. So this could be, I would imagine he's going to switch it and then go for Blue Flame Hellions, as surprising as that sounds. I mean, he could go right into Siege Tanks, but there used to be a build that everybody did where everyone would go for those really, really fast Blue Flame Hellions, try to drop. Now, obviously, Blue Flame Hellions don't two-shot SCVs anymore. They used to until the patch. Oh, and a starport right there. So this is just kind of a funky way of going into Banshees. So,
so this is
never mind everything I just said.
A little bit of a blast from the past, though. You did mention, though, it used to be the standard if you saw gas first before barracks that you could just expect that Banshees were going to hit the field, and it looks like we're kind of returning to that here from the STC. PuMa, on the other hand, of course, a little bit down on attack units at the moment because he's investing in that command center, and he did double gas as well, and it looks like that's a factory coming up for him.
Well, I got to say, it's pretty cool to see STC doing this build like he's doing it. He's really trying to fake out his opponent as much as he could. You know, I mean, if PuMa would have, you know, gotten in and seen that factory right next to the barracks, he might have thought it would be Reactor to Hellions. But so there's of course little points in time where PuMa could have scouted, got an idea about it, but in general, STC playing things in a very deceiving manner so far.
And this was a nice job as well to continue with that, you know, pressing forward with one Hellion, just trying to convince his opponent that that's what's coming out completely when we know that there are Banshees.
Well, the fact that there's only one Hellion should tell him that it's not Reactor to Hellions. You should know that for sure. But,
and it's an expand build off of this as well. So Banshee Hellion expand. PuMa, on the other hand, looks like there's a tech lab of his own coming up for the starport.
Yep, Banshee's a little bit later. I mean, we have seen a lot of Terrans go for a Cloaked Banshee after getting that early command center. After the command center first. At first, it really did a lot of damage because Terrans weren't prepared for the Cloaked Banshees at that time. But now it's become common enough that most Terrans will be ready for it. So we'll have to see if STC is or not. His Banshee's going to get there a lot sooner.
Yeah, 6-minute, 30-second Banshee making its way out now. And PuMa, he's got a few Marines to defend. Looks like he's got to start pulling back now. He does see the Banshee, and one SCV has already gone down. Looks like a couple more will here as well. And he is going to need a backup at the moment. These do not have combat shield, so of course 2 hits will kill them from a Banshee.
Yep.
And it's actually Blue Flame Hellions now coming.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's funny.
Oh, no. It looks like some Hellions snuck in through the front as well. The STC getting in there. He bypasses the bunker, and a bunch of units are pulled back for PuMa at the moment. That Banshee tries to make its way back in, picks off a couple of Marines.
Well, I wonder if he actually caught that there was only 1 Marine in the bunker. I wonder if he saw them leave there. If he did, that was a really smart little move by STC.
Yeah.
But PuMa, yeah, going for Blue Flame Hellions. It's cool. It's just not something you see very often after the nerf in TVT. There's been a lot of debate too. You know, is it worth it getting the Blue Flame Hellions? I mean, it doesn't two-shot things like it used to, but it still does more damage overall. So you can make a case for it. This was being pretty hotly debated after the patch for a while, and largely it's been abandoned, but you still do see players, obviously, you know, going for it once in a while.
Right, we see it in much different circumstances. I got to admit, though, you know, we've talked about this a little bit. Oh, Viking, nice scan as well to pick it off.
Huh.
And
you don't see scans laid down to take out Vikings very often.
No, not
it's
very
kind
often,
of
do you?
Amusing. Yeah.
Delayed Cloak Banshee coming out for PuMa at the moment, though. So.
Yep. With that Blue Flame Hellion, that's going to really throw STC off. That's such a cool little build from PuMa.
Yeah, what a crazy game we have on our hands, too. Just kind of weird, unconventional ways to arrive at where we're at. PuMa is down on units at the moment, but of course he is ahead on tech as he's going to have invested in both Blue Flame and Cloak all at once.
Yep. That's right. Both players, though, just pumping SCVs out of 2 bases here. And a little bit of a drop for STC, but his Hellions are just normal.
Oh, and that Banshee is going to drive right overhead or fly right overhead on top of the Hellions, draw units away, and we'll see if the STC can pull off this drop. As of yet, no, there's plenty of Marines there, and it looks like already the STC turning around.
All right.
Ooh. Coming back now, though.
I'm in a heap of trouble.
Oh, somebody's in a heap of trouble. I think it's going to be PuMa. No, he's not in a heap of trouble. Those Hellions are.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
No, they're not. They're fine.
Pretty good unit control there out of STC. Doesn't lose a single Hellion. Now going to start to work on these SCVs. Blue Flame Hellions making their way back. And the Hellions will eventually go down. Of course, they are light, so there's the advantage of the Blue Flame, as they did die very quickly. But STC pulling a little advantage in this game.
Yep, and PuMa going into mech because he is awesome. Anyone who goes mech is awesome in my book.
Oh, you love your mech, but you know what? It's fun to watch. It really is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be mech versus bio, it looks like.
Yeah.
STC just adding on Marauders, some medevacs, some more barracks, so we can kind of see the direction he's going. Now this is, it can be a pretty good map for mech. Oh, and some damage coming in from PuMa too.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like there is a turret coming up. He is going to need to cloak that Banshee pretty quickly, and does. Flies it away to make sure. Decided to come back with that after a second. Forced a second stim, as a matter of fact.
Yep, has to cancel that supply depot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see what happens when you're not prepared for Banshees. It's kind of been the theme of the day almost. Idra learned, now STC is learning. Ooh, almost gets it, not quite.
Yeah.
I love bio versus mech games. It really is interesting to see how each player kind of tries to outmaneuver each other. Obviously, what STC is going to want to do is get out on the map, be really active, try to engage units that are not sieged up, try to get flanks and things like that.
Right.
Whereas PuMa is just going to try to kind of turtle up, stay safe on 3 bases if he can, and then make kind of one big death push later in the game and try to do some damage here with that.
And PuMa has to watch out. That Viking flying across the middle of the map almost got picked off. Looks like his own Banshee tried to sneak back in a second ago and did get killed. And PuMa's now going to swing around with 4 Blue Flame Hellions. There is 1 Marauder out with Concussive Shell, slowing down some units, so a lot of SCVs are going to die. However, at the same time, there's a push coming in from the STC. Just stims up and charges right ahead, takes out the bunker, and he's just going to power his way through the siege tanks.
He's going for it. Not the best lineup either for those Hellions, but it looks like he's going to have enough SCVs to handle it.
Yeah, and a few more units are going to get destroyed here. PuMa probably needs to pull away with the SCVs now. Now he is. Oh, but unfortunately his Banshee goes down in the process. These Marauders are very resilient against what's left.
There's a Banshee in the natural of STC as well, doing some more damage. So PuMa trading blows with oGs.TheStC. And, oh, he doesn't get the Banshee away. What is the worker count right now after all that?
Wow, that Marauder just surviving forever, by the way.
He's like, you can leave me hanging. I'm fine.
34 workers now to 43 in the advantage of the STC, who has a 25 supply advantage overall and is putting down his third.
That's going to really hurt Puma quite a bit, man. I mean, you need every SCV you can get when you're going mech.
Oh, yeah.
He's in a bit of trouble now, but he's still not out of it quite yet. It's going to be a little bit tougher to take that third.
Yeah, we're going to see if he can establish it nonetheless, though. And 2 more units making their way up, and bye-bye Viking.
Yep.
A couple more units for Puma now sieging up, so he's going to try and remain defensive, but you are absolutely right. He needs every worker he can get, and he desperately needs that third base. Yeah,
I mean, and now STC has just got Puma in the absolute best position for a Bio Terran against a Mech Terran. He can pretty much do whatever he wants right now. He's like, you going to move out on the map and try to do something? Well, guess what? I can just counterattack you whenever I want, man. I mean, he can even do things like go for drops, but more importantly, he can take a lot more bases than his opponent can at this point. Looks like he wants to continue being really aggressive, though.
Oh, we'll see if these units are killed before they pop out. This has actually not been too bad for Puma. He does lose one of his tanks, loses a second as well. That's going to allow these Marauders to be very, very powerful, and they are going to start picking away these Hellions. Taking out those tanks was critical for the STC.
Yeah, upgraded Hellions, I mean, with Blue Flame, don't really do any more damage than regular Hellions to Marauders.
No, they don't.
Upgraded Marauders do more damage to Hellions.
That is true. We already have +1 weapons done. And it looks like there is one siege tank up, starting to pick away at these Marauders, but of course, he's sitting outside of the range here and now just killing so many workers. 43 to 51 to the advantage of STC once again, but of course, he has tons of mules down all the time because he's working off of 3 orbital commands.
Yeah, STC is really playing this the right way. I mean, killing things like gas geysers is also pretty helpful in versus mech play. Wow, picks off a tank there. These Marauders being so annoying, man.
Yeah.
But this is kind of what happens. I mean, if you get behind in mech, your opponent can basically just do literally almost whatever they want to you. It's really, really tough to come back from a position as a mech player in this matchup.
And the STC makes his way in with a few bio units, so he's not going to lose that many workers here, or certainly not enough to justify the cost of every one of those Hellions.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you can see Puma doing, what he should be doing. He's trying to get in and even things out. But, again, it's going to be really difficult for him, whereas it's going to be fairly simple for STC to just stay safe and take more bases here. And is he? Yes, he is building a 4th command center. Okay, so he is going to be going for another base.
And Puma actually has a 4th command center up as well. The problem is it just has nowhere to put it right now.
Yeah, we can remake SCVs, obviously, pretty quickly with that. But he's just going to have too small of an army to kind of defend things on this map.
Yeah, especially with the way this 4th command center is coming up now, as you pointed out earlier. So STC is going to have just an incredible economy here in a bit.
Well, this is a tough one to go mech on. I mean, you really have to defend a very long area of space on this map if you're playing as mech in TVT. Oh, but it's generally not good to attack up ramps.
He's flanking as well. We're going to see if this is enough units to power through these siege tanks. There's only a few Hellions left. The siege tanks have done quite a bit of damage, however, and the STC just lost his whole army.
Yeah, that was a pretty bad attack by STC. I'm surprised he decided to go for that. I mean, he's kind of starting to sort of commit the cardinal sin of TVT, which is if you're ahead, get more ahead. I mean, that's the cardinal sin of any matchup, really, but he might be throwing away a pretty big lead here.
He did, as a matter of fact, and now Puma is able to safely not just take his 3rd, but his 4th at about the same time. So if he transfers over a bunch of SCVs, his economy is actually going to match his opponent. He has a nice defensive position with the siege tanks around the Zelnaga Tower.
That's exactly what Puma was looking for, was a situation like that.
Yeah.
STC's army basically about the 3rd of the size as it should be right now. Yeah, a little bit surprising move from STC. I mean, known largely is more of a patient player, deciding to go for something so aggressive and so risky too. I mean,
yeah, definitely. Okay, a few Blue Flame Hellions making their way over to the left-hand side. They see the Planetary Fortress coming out now, and a few units are stimming up for Puma, but runs right on by. Looks like the Hellions will eventually escape. So one Hellion says, "It's okay, guys. I'll take one for the team."
Yeah, I don't think that Hellion's going to be able to take that command center, man. I don't know. How about you?
Nope, not really. That's incremental damage done to building armor there.
Yep. Well, a lot of Vikings going up for STC, so he will be able to have the air advantage. He is getting a ton of Vikings.
Yes.
And you can do different things with that, obviously. I mean, you can keep the air advantage is one thing. You can keep the range of the tanks to a minimum when you're going to flank, so that does help. You can also harass with them if you want to land them at mineral lines.
Supply blocks, every one of these buildings has stopped at the moment. So
that's rough.
I was wondering why the supply just swung so ridiculously in favor of the STC. Well, it's because everything is now queued up too deep. So.
Yep, that's right. That's a little bit rough for PuMa.
It looks like PuMa is forced to land right away. So yeah, the air control has been getting over to STC, as you mentioned before. A big force swinging the way around the right-hand side as well. Those Hellions can't make their way against the planetary fortress, so they'll try to sneak their way into the third or natural.
Yeah, it's interesting to see STC transition into so many Vikings. It's going to make for an interesting late game. Oh, an attack at the third as well. Nice idea by STC, but I don't think that's enough to go after the third base. Nope, not quite enough. He is doing some damage to the production buildings in the middle.
Gotta watch out for those siege tanks. A couple more Marauders do go down. Yeah, the production buildings are under fire. Nice decision to go after the army right away, as that mech army is so reliant upon it. And a lot of production actually being capped at the moment that is going to force PuMa to respond, and he's losing a lot of production facilities.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen this for a while, but this is something the Terrans in Korea do every once in a while. Go for bio into Vikings, and then they usually follow this up with battle cruisers, believe it or not. Oh, but he needs to lift.
Yeah, he does.
Wow, waiting way too long to lift there, losing more Vikings than he should have, but still in a pretty good position right now.
Big doom drop coming on the left-hand side as well. There's a lot of missile turrets in play, though.
Oh, man.
PuMa just really doesn't want to die to drops.
And yeah, he's not going to go. He is going to go through with this.
Okay.
All right, man. All right.
One medevac has gone down. The missile turrets do finally fall. It looks like we had landed Vikings over on the right-hand side as well, so PuMa going to try and come back and defeat those, but he's basically sacrificing everything inside of the main. He has a small task force of Hellions making their way around, but that is going to get cleared up by a couple of Marauders.
Yeah, PuMa really getting abused by the mobility of STC. Doing a lot of damage. He is really giving up the air advantage, though.
Yes, he is.
Does not want to keep it
Oh,
anymore.
no, and he has an undefended orbital command in the middle, and that is not long for this world. Bye-bye.
GG from PuMa. And STC, wow, I mean, really gave PuMa a chance there at the end by attacking up that ramp and losing his army, but in the end, just making some really nice little maneuvers.